can assure you it was a much closer run affair. It's Wexford against Offaly, and we pick it up at the start with commentator Ger Canning.
Last year's All-Ireland final referee Terence Murray is our match official, and it's the battle of the Leinster rivals. Wexford, who headed Division 1, Offaly winners of Division 2 in the league, and Offaly play with the advantage of a breeze in the first half as Declan Fogarty tries that first attack, but to the right and wide. Wexford goalkeeper this afternoon is Ted Morrissey. Taken nicely by Brendan Keeshan, but he's hooked, and that's George O'Connor to James O'Connor. Here's Seamus Fitzhenry looking for a lead score for Wexford, and Seamus Fitzhenry, for one who's on the mark after 40 seconds of play. Goalkeeper Jim Troy for Offaly here, and I suppose at this stage Croke Park must be like a second home for him. Offaly then, what advantage can they make of that breeze in the first half? Ger Flood, the centre half back this season, taken again by Brendan Keeshan, who likes to press down and join the men in the middle of the field. Turning it inside towards Joe Dooley, one-handed, trying to get it forward to Eugene Coughlin. It'll be interesting to see how Eugene Coughlin manages this afternoon against Padge Walsh. Referee's whistle sounds, and that's going to be a free in for Offaly. Mark Corrigan, scorer of a goal and 20 points in the league to date, and make that now a goal and 21. The sides level here in Croke Park in this semi-final. Ted Morrissey, who recently won back the goalkeeping spot from Paul Nolan. George O'Connor and Martin Storey here. James O'Connor trying to get possession. Martin Hannamy getting it back to his captain and fullback Aidan Fogarty. Aidan, who will be remembered as a member of the Offaly team breaking on the scene in the early 1980s, then as a right half back. Martin Hannamy, who played in last year's Leinster final. Billy Byrne for Wexford to Seamus Fitzhenry, up towards Jimmy Houlihan, a man with a powerful shot in front of goal if he gets a chance. That comes right out to James O'Connor. James O'Connor making strides, looking for a second Wexford point. To the economical Seamus Fitzhenry, lovely style, deadly accuracy. He's Wexford's only scorer so far. Jim Troy trying to feed Mark Corrigan on this near side. George O'Connor switching it over towards Seamus Fitzhenry, batted out there by Mick Coughlin. That's John O'Connor, a brother of George O'Connor, permanent right half back in this Wexford side in the 7 league matches they've played so far. This is where the full forward comes to take the sideline ball. Jimmy Houlihan. Blocked down there. Tom Dempsey's effort. Mark Storey trying to set up Jimmy Houlihan, who started all of that with the sideline ball into James O'Connor. Tom Dempsey. For a moment they seem to be overplaying it, but he's got the range, and Wexford lead by 3 points to 1. Joe Dooley letting it run on for Mark Corrigan. Trying to cut back the leeway. There's just a point between the sides. Mark Corrigan's second point of the game. That one his first from play. Good catch by James O'Connor, who played at centre forward for Wexford in their last league final appearance, 1984. Bidding to get back in the final once again, beaten that year by Limerick, leading at the moment by 3 points to 2. Brendan Keeshan here for Offaly. Under some stern pressure over there, that's Eamon Sinnott, the corner forward, trying to link up with Seamus Fitzhenry, but it's taken down by John Miller, the Coolderry man. switching Offaly into the attack. The first chance for the full forward, Eugene Coughlin, to get motoring. Stopped, however, by Padge Walsh. Corrigan, a croc across to Eugene Coughlin. And a dangerous tackle, the referee decides, by Paul Bridges. So Eugene Coughlin, injured that time, but fit to retake his place at full forward. Interesting that Mark Corrigan is taking most of the frees and not his brother Paddy, who was the regular free taker. And Mark Corrigan has put the sides level, 3 points apiece, and just 7 minutes gone. It's Billy Byrne nudging it forward to Martin Storey, stopped however by Ger Coughlin. This is Joachim Kelly back in the side in place of Sean Donoghue. Good run by Joachim Kelly, but it was intended for Joe Dooley. Might come good, yeah it does. Offaly take the lead, 4 points to 3. And that fine point over there, right on the wing. Ted Morrissey's puck out towards James O'Connor, a game which has yet to come to life. Offaly leading by 4 points to 3. Billy Byrne. Eamon Sinnott trying to hold on to it, and he was tackled rather harshly, and the referee says fouled by John Miller. So a free from the 20-metre line, and Jimmy Houlihan getting ready to take this 20-metre free. I wonder would he consider going for a goal early on. Player with a powerful free, but it was clear from the very outset there that he was content to tap it over and level up the scores. So level pegging so far. Not a great crowd, by the way, present in Croke Park this afternoon, despite the attractiveness of the pairings, but little to cheer about. Joachim Kelly kept it in play, but gave it away then to Seamus Fitzhenry of Wexford, up towards big Jimmy Houlihan, trying to round Miller. So Jim Troy organises his forces as it'll be Jimmy Houlihan who'll take the sideline ball. Not just the full forward, but the man who takes the frees from way out the field and from the sideline as well. To an extent, I think his strength might be missed inside, but let's see if he can deliver the pass accurately. Tom Dempsey. Martin Storey. And that was a hit first and ask questions later tackle by Martin Hannamy. Referee considered it unfair and illegal as he loses the helmet. Jimmy Houlihan can give Wexford the lead in what's been a very tightly contested match so far. 5 points to 4, Houlihan's second score. Ger Flood. That's a drop down to Billy Byrne, who drives it with determination through the middle. Tom Dempsey trying to pick it up. Martin Hannamy stopping him. Hannamy has done very well so far against Tom Dempsey, allowing him very little leeway. One of the relative newcomers, though he played in the championship last year. Brendan Keeshan. Long range effort. Hopeful, taken nicely by the fullback Padge Walsh, the referee's man. To Billy Byrne toward George O'Connor. Ooh, George O'Connor was way up that time, rather dangerously swinging at it, and he's already been booked and he'll have to be rather careful. Ger Coughlin against Seamus Fitzhenry, who would seem to have switched wings. Taken nicely by Jimmy Houlihan. Point chance, that's a nice score. And Wexford have gone into a 2-point lead. First bit of decent open play that we've seen for some time. And finishing with a good Wexford score. Just over 9 minutes to go to half-time. Pat Cleary unable to get away. That's taken by Pat Kenny, the ever-present cornerback for Wexford. Here's George O'Connor. Martin Storey. Good stop by Jim Troy from that pass by James O'Connor. James O'Connor playing the pass wide outside, and a good shot by Story, taken nicely by Troy. Billy Byrne waiting for that one to come back out to him. Seamus Fitzhenry up towards Jimmy Houlihan. Aidan Fogarty, very capable fullback. He's won rave reviews for his displays in the league this season. George O'Connor being tackled late by Mark Corrigan there. Houlihan inside for Dempsey, nicely taken. Referee allowed an advantage, and it's just as well because it's a super goal. The first goal of the match by Tom Dempsey comes 22 minutes into the first half. A goal that will certainly liven this match. Pass delightfully delivered inside for Dempsey. Foul though he was, the referee allowed him an advantage, and he finished with clinical accuracy. Joe Dooley, second chance towards Eugene Coughlin. Paul Bridges gets there first, leaves it behind, and that was Pat Kenny, the other cornerback, sweeping across to the left-hand side. Seamus Fitzhenry having to race back for it, racing back a good 30 metres to get onto it. But the man who's marking him, Brendan Keeshan, the one who cuts it out. Game certainly livening up in the last few minutes following that goal. There was a deflection, and so it'll be a 65. Keeshan, 65 for Offaly. Lobbing it in towards Eugene Coughlin. It went all the way. Went all the way, didn't take a deflection. Brendan Keeshan, who scored a goal and 2 points in the game against Laois, has got another goal for himself, straight from the 65. It deceived everyone and went straight into the corner. It's a good reply by Offaly then, 1-7 to 1-5. And Offaly have brought in a substitute. That's Pat O'Connor, the Cool Derry man, who's come in to try and make a bit more of an impression on the half-forward line. Didn't see who went off. That's Joe Dooley, who's come into the middle of the field to partner Joachim Kelly. Maybe Michael Dignan has gone off, who had an injured hand a little bit earlier on. Eugene Coughlin trying to get onto that one, getting there ahead of a wild attempted clearance by Pat Kenny, and Eugene Coughlin picks it up and drives it over the bar, and now there is just a point between the teams. So Eugene Coughlin's first point in the game, and it's also his first point since being converted to a full forward. Martin Story to keep it in play. Good angled cross towards Jimmy Houlihan, who was standing in the square. Doesn't even dispute the referee's decision. So just a point separating the sides. Wexford still the leaders. Near to half-time. Declan Fogarty hasn't really made much of an impression at centre forward. That's Pat O'Connor towards Pat Cleary, and the referee saw a rather dangerous attempted tackle that time by Pat Kenny on Pat Cleary. So the number 4 has been warned. Pat Cleary incidentally captained Wexford the last time they played in a league final. Conceding the free then now to Mark Corrigan, and Mark Corrigan has tied up the scores 1-7 to 1-7, and that's Mark Corrigan's 4th point of the game. George O'Connor bidding to put Wexford ahead just before half-time, pursued by Joe Dooley. Hooked, gets a second chance, now looking for some support. Well, just not getting the rub of the green that time, but full credit to Joe Dooley for making it difficult for him and pursuing him all the way along the line. Brendan Keeshan beautifully cut inside. Oh, that's a lovely point. A goal and a point then by Brendan Keeshan. And Offaly have gone into a 1-point lead. Referee Terence Murray checking the watch, blowing the whistle, and Offaly will go in leading by that solitary point, that sideline puck by Brendan Keeshan. Ger Flood letting that one behind. Here's George O'Connor, electing to belt it away with the left boot. Well, as in the first half, it's a fairly sedate start to the second period. Eugene Coughlin motoring forward. Here's Pat Cleary trying to steal inside Padge Walsh. Eugene Coughlin again, that goes back't Pat O'Connor, turning on his left and increasing Offaly's lead. They lead now by 1-9 to 1-7. Pat O'Connor's first score since coming on as a sub. There's George O'Connor towards Martin Fitzhenry. Started brilliantly, got the opening 2 points for Wexford, but hasn't seen too much of the action, certainly in the last quarter of an hour of the first half. Eamon Sinnott back at left quarter forward. Brendan Keeshan, Offaly hero in that first half, robbed. Seamus Fitzhenry, football around Hurler, turning it in, stopped, and it's a goal by Tom Dempsey. A goal by Tom Dempsey, which the Offaly supporters in a crowd of 19,756 salute. Seamus Fitzhenry set it up, stopped by Troy and put away by Tom Dempsey. So it's Wexford who've gone into a 1 point lead. So Offaly, having trailed for much of the first half, finding themselves a point arrears, and we're only in the 3rd minute of the second half. Joachim Kelly cutting that one up. Taken by Eugene Coughlin, inside for Pat O'Connor, put it over the bar when he had the goal at his mercy. Coming from the sideline ball, Eugene Coughlin taking it down, distributing it perfectly to Pat O'Connor, and the goal was surely there for the taking. Billy Byrne trying to get back goal side for Wexford. That's knocked away in any case by John Conran through the centre towards James O'Connor. Broken up, however, by Mick Coughlin, the centre half back this season, hoping to hang on to that centre half's position. He was in the Offaly team before, tripped in any case by James O'Connor, who followed him all the way back. And you may remember these two had a couple of words, and a little bit more than words in the first half. Little niggling incidents happening. And so James O'Connor has his name taken. Mark Corrigan over the bar. That's Mark's 6th point of the match, most of them from frees. So as you were at half-time, Offaly leading by 1. Between Coughlin and James O'Connor, comes down to Billy Byrne, pursued by Declan Fogarty. Still Billy Byrne sticking there doggedly with the task, and helped by George O'Connor from the 65-metre line, lobbing it in. Oh, he was just a foot or so outside the 65-metre line when he hit that one. And so the sides are level once again. John Conran waiting for it all the way, and he was being elbowed by Pat O'Connor. Well, it's just outside his own 45-metre line. 7 minutes into the second half. 14 points against 14, or 2-8 for Wexford, 1-11 for Offaly. And another chance for Wexford, put away by Billy Byrne. Well, gaps appeared, and some slack marking, and a little bit of indecision as well, and Billy Byrne simply snapped up the chance. Seemed to be a trip on George O'Connor, but the referee didn't see it that way. That's towards Pat Cleary. Cleary hasn't scored so far. Here's Joe Dooley towards Eugene Coughlin, trying to hook it backwards. Paddy Cleary there too, and swept away out of danger. Ger Flood, the centre half back, the player who knocked that one away. It's going to be another 65. So Brendan Keeshan, a goal and a point to his credit so far from the 65, and that's now a goal and two, equaling his best performance in the league this season. Jimmy Houlihan trying to get it up into his hands. Mick Coughlan trying to get it out for Offaly. It's James O'Connor. Billy Byrne trying to switch it across to the other guy on the right helmet, Seamus Fitzhenry, trying to steal inside Brendan Keeshan, and that's a great point. Outside from his left-hand side, his third point of the afternoon, the first since those 2 points he scored right at the beginning of the match. Ger Flood, brilliant catch with the left hand, driving it back down towards the forwards. Ger Coughlan trying to come out with it. James O'Connor trying to apply some more pressure. Two great Leinster rivals. And this is Eamon Sennett going for another goal, stopped by Jim Troy this time. The referee's whistle sounds at the sides that Eamon Troy was impeded inside the square, and it's going to be a penalty. Wexford, who lead by 3 points, 3-10 to 1-13, find themselves with a marvellous opportunity to perhaps put this game beyond the reach of Offaly. In the 13th minute of the second half, Houlihan, stopped by Jim Troy, and between Jim Troy and Brendan Keeshan they conspire to deny him, and so Offaly live on. 3 points between the sides. Pat Kenny stops it at left corner back, pushes it back towards James O'Connor on centre forward, gets there ahead of Mick Coughlan. Nice solo run from James O'Connor to Seamus Fitzhenry, breaks down to Brendan Keeshan, and that's Mick Coughlan putting it back into the heart of the Wexford defence. Padge Walsh is there, the full-back, gets it away somehow. Joe Dooley keeps the ball in play, players to support him inside towards the square. Paddy Corrigan trying to get onto it. That's George O'Connor. The tempo of the game lifting once again. Mark Corrigan just inside the 20-metre line, lobbed in. Padge Walsh, the fullback, gets his hand to it, gets it out as far as George O'Connor. Way into the middle of the field. Mick Coughlan can't hold on to it. Billy Byrne drives it forward even further to Tom Dempsey, the 2-goal hero for Wexford. There's the shot, but it's outside and wide, and so Wexford still continue to lead by 3 points. Just about halfway through the second half, so once again one poses the question, can Offaly come back, as Ger Flood catches that magnificently, reminiscent of another Ger Henderson of Kilkenny. This time it's Pat Connor, however, of Offaly, sweeping Offaly forward. Ronald Byrne, the substitute, towards Eugene Coughlan. Padge Walsh, not such a good clearance, a lovely transfer inside to Dooley! Oh, that's a super goal! That's the equaliser. Well, we were asking, was there an Offaly way back? Connor set it up, Coughlan was involved as well. A lovely transfer inside for Dooley, and what a spectacular shot into the corner of the goal. Joachim Kelly. So who's going to win it? George O'Connor trying that long, speculative effort outside the 45-metre line. No luck with the finishing, so he's back in the middle. Jim Troy. Touched down by Jimmy Houlihan towards Tom Dempsey. Mick Coughlan there for Offaly. Jimmy Houlihan again through the middle it goes towards Eamon Sennett. There first, however, was Martin Hannamy. Hannamy getting a second bite of the cherry. Across it comes towards Seamus Fitzhenry, very near the sideline. Getting there one step ahead of Ger Coughlan, swept out swiftly by Aidan Fogarty to the middle of the field, to the dancing Mark Corrigan, running away with the ball on a fabulous solo run, a loose player ahead of him. Remember, the sides are level. This is Pat Connor, hooked by John Conran, the left half back, the all-star left half back of Wexford. He's got loose players there to support him and help him. One of them was Pat Kenny, his left corner back, into the middle, taken just high by Joachim Kelly. This has been played now with the fervour of a championship tie. Paddy Corrigan hasn't scored so far. He has possession. He's fouled. He salutes the air. delighted because it gives Offaly now a magnificent opportunity of taking the lead with just a minute and a half to go. And certainly the crowd of just under 20,000 has enjoyed this second half. Mark Corrigan, I wonder, will he go for the point or would he try for an insurance goal? I think he'll take the point. I think that's sensible in the circumstances. Mark Corrigan has scored 9 points in the afternoon. George O'Connor then rising from the air. Wexford seem to have this match in their grasp only about 10 minutes ago. And now suddenly they're falling into arrears. Well, this match has certainly whetted the appetite. 2:15 for Offaly. That's 21 points. 3:11, that's 20 points for Wexford. And so inside the last 30 seconds, Ger Flood, is there one last reply from Wexford, who've battled their hearts out? In fact, neither side would really deserve to lose, but then that's what this type of knockout activity is all about, as George O'Connor, with a third ambitious shot from way out the field, out near the sideline, puts it wide, and so the match ticks into injury time. So will it be Offaly against Tipperary in a first ever meeting of those counties in a league final? Jim Troy pucking out. Is there time left? Ger Flood, hooked by Eugene Coughlin, and the referee deciding that Ger Flood overcarried the ball, and he's giving the free to Offaly, which is just what they want. Offaly, who were beaten finalists in 1981 and beaten semi-finalists 4 years later in the league, are they now on their way to another tilt at a National League final? Andy Gallagher, the Offaly official there, came in with the bottle. I don't think he intended to give water to anybody. There was perhaps a word of encouragement to Brendan Keeshan to take it nice and easy, because they're now a minute into injury time. Keeshan, will this secure their victory? They're waving frantically inside, and that's 2 points ahead. 2:16 to 3:11. So it's 22 points to 20 as Ted Morrissey takes the puck out quickly. The whistle sounds, and there it is. Offaly qualify for their second ever National League final, following a magnificent second half of truly entertaining hurling. That's their second ever national final. It will be against Tipperary in 2 weeks' time, following a very impressive afternoon's hurling, as Andy Gallagher congratulates his team. But it's Offaly who win by 2 points, 2:16 to 3:11.
So Offaly there finishing strongly in qualifying to meet their neighbours Tipperary in the final, and that final will take place in a fortnight's time. Well, now let's have a check